Greetings, everyone. Jonathan here. Sorry about the Redux episode this week, but it is for a positive reason, and that is, well, it's my birthday weekend. I am turning 44 on August 13th, so we've been taking a little time away, trying to enjoy the weekend a little more, and just generally keeping it pretty chill. So yeah, we're not releasing a new episode this week. However, I do get to pick which episode we're doing as the Redux, and we're going all the way back to episode 113, and this is a very special episode for me for several reasons. The first of which, it includes Crystal's and mine's girlfriend, Elli. And the second, it is where we talk about aphantasia and how it may or may not impact haunting. And this is a really interesting one because when we recorded this episode, and it's well over 4 years old now, we had just learned what aphantasia is. And we were deep in the weeds researching. All three of us were. Elli had no idea that she had something that most people don't have. She didn't realize the way she viewed the world, or rather didn't view the world, was somewhat unusual. So anyways, we get to talking about how aphantasia, a condition where you can't form pictures in your mind, and how it can impact haunting and make some scares more effective and some scares less effective. It's an interesting one. I know it's been a long damn time since we talked to it. We need to get her back on and do an update to this. So maybe that'll be forthcoming. But anyways, enjoy the episode and we'll see you next week.
Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and haunted entertainment industry. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we're bringing something very special this week. It has been one of the hot topics around our house for the past few months.
It has.
The source of countless barbs and jokes and endless teasing, both directions, I might add.
Yes.
But basically, we're going to be covering the subject of aphantasia, and to help us, aphantasia and haunting, and we're going to explain what aphantasia is, so you don't have to go scrambling to Google yet.
Right.
Take your time. We're going to get you there.
We'll also include a couple of links to articles in the show notes so that you will be able to get those. And where might someone find these show notes?
Well, the show notes themselves will be at hauntweekly.com. You can also find us at Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly at Facebook, and tinyurl.com/hauntweekly whisks you away magically through the power of 301 redirects to our YouTube channel, where you'll find the entire back catalog of episodes, and you may peruse them at your leisure and view, and I'm doing the air quotes, that for hours and hours on end.
Yes.
Feel free. Please.
About 113 hours.
Yeah, roughly just a little bit under, yeah. But anyways, as I said, we have a very special guest this week. Someone we've mentioned on this podcast a few times.
Yes.
Our girlfriend, our partner, our haunt mom.
Yeah.
And multiple other roles in our lives, Elli.
Hello.
Who will be joining us in a little bit to talk about this horrible, crippling disorder she lives with called aphantasia. And then...
Yes, I don't hallucinate constantly.
It's going to be one of those episodes, folks. Buckle up.
Yeah.
But yes, this is going to be a fun one. But first, real quick, even though we don't always do this with interviews, we're going to quickly blow through the conference reminders so we can get to more Elli time. Basically, we have enough Elli in our day so we can do the conference. All right. Is it my turn to kick off or yours?
I think it's mine.
Okay, go for it.
I'm the oddball. So, first, March 1st through the 3rd, it's the Maze Chicago Corn Party at the Chicago Marriott Southwest and Burr Ridge. Tours of 9 different farm attractions, including Fair Oaks Farm, Gobert's, Culper's Family Farm, and Genomac Orchard. You can find out more about that at themaze.com, M-A-I-Z-E.
After that, it's the big daddy of the industry, the Trans World's Halloween and Attraction Show in St. Louis, Missouri, March 22nd through the 25th at the America Center. There will be a pre-convention bus tour visiting Nashville, Nightmare, and Talon Falls, and there will be a voodoo soiree on Saturday night. Learn more at the Ha Show, that's HAASHOW.com.
Then it's West Coast Haunters Convention, April 13th through the 15th in Portland, Oregon, at the Doubletree Hotel, Portland. I would hope it'd be in Portland. touring Melbourne's Haunted Manor. Also includes a costume ball, a silent auction, and the Nightmare After West Coast Haunters Convention Film Festival, with those films still secretive. They're not letting you know yet, but if they do, you can find that out at hauntersconvention.com.
All right. It's my time to shine, baby. I got this. Okay, after that, Halloween Show and National Haunters Convention presents Halloween Boardwalk Empire in Atlantic City, New Jersey, May 18th through the 20th at the Showboat Convention Center. Will feature zombie volleyball, a hearse show, a Mardi Gras themed costume ball, and much more. By the way, guys, you still have Mardi Gras misspelled on the site. If you are listening to this, learn more at HalloweenShow.com.
You know, maybe we should just write them and tell them.
Yeah, this may not be the most efficient way to communicate that
Maybe not.
information.
Okay. And then one that a lot of our friends are looking forward to, Midwest Haunters Convention, May 25th through the 27th in Columbus, Ohio at the Greater Columbus Convention Center, featuring a masquerade party, a zombie walk, and a pre-convention bus tour with haunts to be announced. You can find out what those are at MidwestHauntersConvention.com.
And last for this run, it's Premier Haunted Attractions Tour and Education Series in Ulster Park, New York, June 22nd to 23rd at the Super 8 Kingston, not the regular 8, the Super 8 Kingston. Touring the Headless Horseman in all 7 of its attractions. I believe we had that on our haunt bucket list.
Yeah.
I am so excited about this. Full itinerary TBA Premier Haunt Tour with 2Ts.com. And that brings us up to speed on our upcoming conferences. Now, what the hell is Aphantasia? I hear a lot of you wondering and biding your time, curious. So, I'm going to be honest. This is something we learned about a few months ago. Even though it was apparently discovered in 1880.
Yes.
Blew my mind to learn that.
Yes, nobody told me.
Nobody told her. But yes, we learned, and this is really freaky odds, because as we're going to discuss in a minute, about 2% of people are afflicted with this horrible, horrible ailment.
Yes, where we don't constantly visualize stuff that's not there.
Yeah.
But we actually have 2 people in our pretty close inner circle that have it.
Right.
Not a super large inner circle.
No.
And to attach to the haunt.
Yeah, to attach to our haunt, too, exactly, that actually have this. And basically, it's 50% of the knitting and crafting group. It's pretty impressive, I got to admit. But long story short, this whole conversation has really changed how we think about what goes on in other people's heads.
Right.
We've always assumed, Crystal and I, that other people visualize the world we do.
Right.
That's not true. And Aphantasia is an excellent example of why it's different. And the goal of this, by the way, is to hopefully start a conversation with Aphantasia in general, but also specifically how it impacts haunting and the haunt community. Because people with Aphantasia tend to be pretty crafty and pretty creative.
Right.
But they're very differently creative. And as we'll get into a little bit later, they can be difficult to bring in on a project because it can be hard to share a vision when one of you ain't got a vision.
Yeah.
Just show me what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what is Aphantasia? I'm going to put you through a quick test to see if you perhaps have it. This is an excellent format to do it in, by the way, audio only. I can actually do this. I want you to close your eyes for me. And I want you to picture a house along a long country road. It's deep set into the woods. There's trees. There's a beautiful sky. What color is the house? Now, it doesn't really matter what color you said. If you had a color and a mental image in your head that came with a color, it could be a log cabin for all we care, you do not have aphantasia. Basically. Because aphantasia is the inability to see images in your mind. Mm-hmm. Now, what I'm going to do in the show notes is I'm going to link to a BBC article which covers it pretty thoroughly. And that article also has a more thorough test to let you see where, if you have it. Also, it basically shows that there is a spectrum between aphantasia and hyperphantasia,
right,
which is what Crystal and I both scored on that relatively unscientific but still helpful test.
Yes.
And that article, are you going to share that article that you shared with me earlier? The blank guy, the Facebook.
The link? Facebook one, I guess we are now.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go. Well, I ask it because there's a great discussion on there, and as I was sitting there reading it, I was like, oh yeah, this is me, and this is me, oh yeah, and that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you do have aphantasia, that'll be a great link to read and relate to.
Yeah.
But
well, and it's interesting because we were talking about the spectrum before we came in here, and it seems like everyone on the extreme edges of the spectrum are creative that we know.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have to make things because I can't see them in my head. And if I wanted to make anything ever at all, I have to physically make a thing.
Right.
Yes.
And I make things in my head that are like just too awesome not to make in real life. So
Yeah. Because and basically the way the spectrum works is if you cannot pull images out of your head at all, you have aphantasia. If you're constantly deluged with super realistic photograph quality images,
right.
you are hyperphantasia. And I guess normal people
Or somewhere in the middle, and I would be curious on
to hear from them because
Yeah, hear from them and see how it affects their creativity.
are you not seeing it? Are you like getting it on 480p? I'm just asking. I'm curious how this works.
It's 8-bit.
It's like Super Mario going across their mind. But I mean, so yes, this whole idea was very, very interesting to us, and the realization that not everybody thinks the way we do.
Yeah. Well, and that's a whole different conversation about how people think and how we all have our own perception of reality, and nobody really sees or experiences things the same way.
Yeah, very, very true. But but obviously, with the focus of this podcast is haunted attractions,
right,
and how it impacts both customers and haunters. Because I suspect we're going to find that the haunt community, because of the nature of people with aphantasia to be creative and to be, involved in these craftsy type things, that we're going to find that more than 2% of haunters basically have it. There's going to be a tendency here. So
right.
It's a worthwhile conversation. And I wanted to start, and Elli, every year with us, goes to a slew of haunted houses. We basically drag her kicking and screaming violently to haunted attractions. She is our non-haunter eyes and ears of these things.
Yeah.
And now we know she's broken and we can't...
Yes, I'm not kicking and screaming because I don't like haunts or because they scare me.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, I guess it's because I don't get it. As literally as it's happening, I get the thing, but
yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think the most obvious way it's going to impact a customer is how they remember the haunt.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Because Crystal and I go through haunt, and then we do like the haunt reviews or talk about it later.
Right.
We're bringing up images in our mind, remembering rooms, remembering exact scares,
specific details,
like when we
touches, smells.
Yeah, exactly. When we talk about like the freaks of fear.
Yeah.
And I still visually remember the bird that swooped down on us and startled us. That's not what you see, is it?
Oh no, not at all. I did not go to that one though, right?
No.
Right.
You didn't
Okay,
go to that
good. Because I don't have that in my list of.
That was an Atlanta one. It's just one of the most vivid images I could call and bring up at that exact moment.
Yeah. For you, anything from 13th Gate.
How do you remember 13th
That's
Gate?
one in Baton Rouge?
Yes.
Okay. So there's the whole little vignette with the places from England.
Yes.
Yes.
And then there's random. and then there's the room from The Evil Dead.
Uh-huh.
And then there's random. And then there's a cold thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the woolly mammoth cave. Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's cold. There's a cold thing, and then there's a bridge thing with maybe some pumpkins and maybe not some pumpkins. It depends on the year. And then there's a truck or two that tries to scare us, but they can't hit us, so there's no reason to be afraid. And then maybe there's a chainsaw guy on the way out. Maybe there's not. I don't know. And then we leave.
No, there's not a chainsaw guy on the way out.
Yeah, there's not a chainsaw guy.
Oh, it's just the trucks at that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But basically, the way you've explained it to us, and I think the way it's easy for other people to understand it, in your day job, you are a database programmer, database developer.
Yes. Also my night job.
Also your night job. Yeah, that's true.
My weekend job. My all the jobs.
You're all the job. Your never-ending job.
Yes.
So, you have described what you just did to us is like a database. Like you have
Yeah, so
text
I have a
information.
spreadsheet. Like I have a spreadsheet in my head, except not a spreadsheet I can read, just a spreadsheet I can know psychically.
Yeah.
So
basically bullet points for the important information that goes with a topic.
Yep.
So-
And all those bullet points are there.
So going back to 13th Gate,
Uh-huh.
you had like 13th Gate, bullet point underneath,
Yes.
England scene, bullet point underneath that.
Well, first it was Baton Rouge.
No, Baton Rouge is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's the one with the elevator thing, too.
Yeah,
a elevator.
Yes.
Yes. So elevator and then maybe some stuff and then the England scene is near the beginning.
Yeah.
So, how do you remember and make the determination what are your favorite haunts?
I guess the ones that I bother to store that kind of information about.
Okay.
Because if I can't, if I don't bother to remember the data about them, the information, the metadata about the haunt, then it obviously did not make an impression on me. But none of the haunts really scare me. Not the way I see other people that aren't in our group being scared.
Like or Therese.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, okay, so like Lafitte. You have that.
Oh, they're adorable.
that is your metadata for Lafitte.
Yes. That is. Yeah, that's my little hashtag. Lafitte. That's the adorable haunt.
Yes.
And then if I want to start thinking about what it is, everything's adorable except for that silly maze at the end, which I swear they try to make extra bad for us because they love y'all so much.
And because I've constantly ragged on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
In reviews. But yeah, okay, so when recalling and like if you were to talk to someone else about a haunt and say what haunt they should go to, you're not going to be able really to describe scenes from it per se. Other
Not
than
really.
You can pull the metadata from it. You can say what is physically there.
Yeah,
But
I definitely can't say how scary it would be, because one of the things that we've discussed away from here is that I don't have the I should be scared of the thing because of who knows what's where. No, it's what is there is what's there, and everything that's not there is not there.
Yeah,
I don't have any imaginary friends there waiting in my.
And that's because it impacts your expectations.
Yeah, I don't have expectations.
Yeah. When you see, okay, let's play a scene in a haunt.
Hallway.
Yeah, you're going down a hallway. You literally see just the hallway.
Yes.
Or someone who's, or at least less aphantasic, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there's a spectrum technically. It's
Right.
not a pass-fail test necessarily.
Right.
But someone who's less aphantasic would at least visualize it as a hallway with walls and...
Well, there's walls in the hallway.
But you know what I mean? Like solidness.
Yeah.
And that makes it so that when all of a sudden there's a hole there and you realize the hallway is a fake, the wall is not real, it's a little more disturbing. Basically, what I'm saying is when we enter a hallway, and of course it's a little different for us because we're haunters and
Right.
we've been through this, but a quote-unquote normal person looks in it, they see a hallway, they have expectations about what a hallway is.
Yes.
Oh, no.
And that expectation does not include drop panels or hands reaching in the room or whatever.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm sometimes surprised by well-hidden drop panels, right?
Yeah.
But not scared because of them, because one, I know that haunts have active people in them. They don't have actual ghosts or monsters in them.
Right.
Because ghosts and monsters...
Except the mortuary. Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, yeah. So maybe some of the haunts have ghosts and monsters, whatever. But I'm walking down, the thing that looked like a door, or that looked like a wall is actually a door. Not a surprise, because sometimes things that look like doors are not doors, as you get more information.
Right.
Yeah, and we really got a lot of this conversation up. We go back to the podcast we did on Layers of Fear.
Right.
She tried to play Layers of Fear, and the game that really messed with Crystal and I,
Right.
like, just totally washed over Ellie. She had nothing, and one of the reasons was because there's, like, once again, people who are less aphantasia
Right.
make mental maps.
Right.
When we're going through, even a haunt, even if it's like a very background process,
Yeah.
and we don't even realize we're doing it, we're drawing a map of where we've been and where we're likely going, and we're figuring out how it all fits together.
Right.
You do not visualize maps.
No. I don't visualize anything.
And so, like in Layers of Fear, when you make the 3 right turns and come back and you're in a totally different place.
Then the right turns must not have been what the rules say that the right turns should have been. So I'm not expecting to be in the same place because I'm just expecting to be wherever it is that I am.
Yes.
And
It's
the
like,
same,
oh, look, I am at this place now.
and the same thing happens to you in Haunts, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't get lost in the blackout mazes. I just don't get out of the blackout mazes. It's like, oh, I'm not out yet. I'm not out yet. It's not that I'm sad or surprised that I'm not out yet. I'm just maybe annoyed that I'm not out yet.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah, that blackout mazes annoy me.
Does that mean that you can't remember which ones you've been down, which hallways?
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
So you
Do not put me at the front of the line. I don't know why I get put at the front of the line.
You don't get put at the front of the line. You just end up there.
So you have gotten put at the front of the line, but we only learned about this after season. So,
Now we know not to do that.
Yes. I'm useless at the front of the line.
Okay.
We did this one last time. We did that one last time. Not that. I don't know which one. I don't know which one I did last time.
All right. Now, this week's episode, Explicit Warning, comes from Elli.
That's a
I'm
first.
sorry, I tried.
Oh,
I know,
God.
it's okay.
There's a reason we have it. It's because I hate editing. What it comes down to. Not because we're the disgusting podcast with all these Roman orgies. It's because I don't feel like editing out every F-bomb. But
Sorry.
yeah, so basically, though, what you're saying, though, is like in the blackout mazes, which I'm not a big fan of in general, you could pretty much goldfish your way up and down the same hallway.
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Yes, I'm sure you have too.
Probably with y'all following along behind me.
Just cheerfully blending.
Well,
And meanwhile, the actor's going, what the hell?
well, yeah, because back to Layers of Fear, there's the room that actually changes behind you. You don't even walk out of it. You just turn around.
Yeah. Oh, look, the room's changed.
Yeah.
It is now different than it was.
Yeah.
And
Not bothered by it at all because this is just a new set of facts.
And that's just it. And then that's what I find so interesting is because when you have that visual image of things in your head,
Right.
that creates an expectation which can then be defied.
Yes.
When all you have is metadata, that expectation is at least lessened.
Well, I know that it's unclear. I know that everything's going to be incomplete, and I assume that that expectation thing that y'all are talking about is when you're making up information that you don't know.
Huh.
Well,
You're making things up.
but see, the thing is,
sometimes it is, because if we're visualizing something,
If you're
then-
walking down a hallway
Okay.
and you're surprised that the hallway is not just walls, like not solid walls, then you've made up the fact that the hallway is supposed to be solid walls.
I think that goes back to expectations of people who aren't used to haunts, thinking that solid walls are solid.
But why would you think that if you haven't gone past it yet? You don't know what it is until you've experienced
well, like
it.
with Layers of Fear, though, we've seen what the backside of the room looks.
Right.
So we process that, we remember it, and then when we turn it around or in 360 and it's changed,
Yeah.
that's not simply us extrapolating information we don't know. That is information we knew.
Yeah,
that it's been
information
That
changed.
has
you knew.
changed.
Not information that you know, information that you knew. Time changes things.
This is going to get
Not
real
that fast,
goddamn
really.
Yes, you used to have stuff on your face, Jonathan.
Come on. Here we go again, folks, about the goatee. The goatee
Yes,
ears.
and currently you don't have stuff on your face. But someday you might have stuff on your face. That doesn't make you less Jonathan.
So according to this, the outside of that door could be anything. Because we're in a
We're
room.
sitting here in the Haunt Weekly Towers, the recording studio at Haunt
Yes.
Weekly Towers.
Well, sure. It could be anything. It's likely not anything.
So-
because I'm not insane. I don't imagine things that aren't there.
So you see
But-
everything as like Schrodinger's cat.
Yes.
It both is and is not what it's supposed to be on the other side of that door at all times.
Yes. Now rationally, I know that it's likely to be, the house that.
Yeah, you want to see my office and the bathroom and so on
Yes.
and so forth.
Yeah. And were the lights out, I would be able to navigate it probably as well as y'all. But the navigation would be based on, metadata rather than a picture. And if it changed, then it's like, oh, now that data's changed, so I would need the lights on to change my picture. I would just need the lights off to change my metadata.
So when you think like getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, you realize, okay, the bathroom is a few steps this way, through the door, straight across the hall, and into the bathroom.
Yes.
Now, what if there's a pair of shoes put in the way?
If there's a pair of shoes put in the way, then on my way back, I remember that there's a pair of shoes put in the way.
Yeah.
But I don't see them or imagine where they're at, so if I got spun around, as long as I went back into the right room, I would still be able to find it.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be disoriented. And I think that's part of it, is that I'm both all the time disoriented and less likely to be disoriented.
And then
once I know where I'm at.
And that seems to be the theme from talking with you about haunting, is that since you are less certain of everything, the uncertainty which haunts and haunt scares attempt to throw at you are less impactful.
Yes.
Is that about right?
Definitely. I don't jump scares don't often get me. One of the few that I remember is at Necropolis with the guy up above. Because that was the first time there was a guy up above with no things to hold the guy up above to make sure he didn't fall. And I did not know that he was, this magical parkour dancer guy.
Yeah.
The ballet guy. Oh God.
Yes, the ballet guy. Once I learned that he was the ballet guy, then he was no longer scary to me because I knew he wasn't going to fall on me. I don't know. I don't even know, but I knew that he wasn't going to fall on me anymore. No. When if he was like my level of physical activity,
if he was any of our level, it'd be one time, and we're like this.
Exactly.
Splat.
Yes.
Followed by an ambulance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, if you saw us actually falling, you're not aphantasic.
Specifically, you saw us jumping off of one tomb on top of a platform and just splatting.
You didn't say a tomb.
I know, I'm drawing that out now, but because we did say it was Necropolis.
Yeah.
So anyone that's been in Necropolis probably knows exactly what it was.
Yeah. Or anybody who knows what a necropolis is.
That's true. But yeah. Now, another thing that was interesting, and this was something we talked about when we first started dating, and I didn't really fully understand it, and now I think I do. The issue with masks.
Oh God!
I have the Bernie mask, of course, that I wear, and the very first time you saw me in it, you were endlessly disturbed.
I was broken.
Now, explain that a little bit. Let her get her sip of soda.
Yes. Well, because you no longer looked like Jonathan, and I could not trust what was underneath the mask. It could have been anybody under the mask. You could have put the mask on and then stepped behind a wall, and then somebody else come out, and it would be not Jonathan under there, but it would look like the new Jonathan information, right? Because now Jonathan looks like Bernie.
Right.
So everybody who looks like Bernie is Jonathan.
And that's because you don't have that mental image of what's behind the mask.
Right. I don't. I have to remind myself, it's a checklist. It's like, okay, now Jonathan has this description. And it's a temporary description, but still, this is the current description of Jonathan. And what I told you at Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Hong Kong this year was that if you go and you have somebody else wear your mask, I am leaving you forever and will never talk to you again. That will break us up. Because I won't be able to trust what is underneath that mask. Now I see the Bernie mask and I know that is other Jonathan's face.
It's like Jonathan, Beta.
Jonathan
evil
2.0.
twin.
Yes.
It's Spock with a goatee, basically.
Yeah.
It is. It is. So I'm okay with it as long as I know exactly what's under it.
But it took years for you to get there.
Oh, it did.
Now, how does that work for you inside haunted houses? You see people with masks on all the time, or in heavy makeup, or whatever.
Yes, and you say, "Oh, look, that's that person that we know and you've seen dozens of times." And I'm like, "Oh, really? That's great." Because I don't know them, can't recognize them from their body movements or from their face under makeup.
Right.
Yeah. So, we saw so and so in the haunt. Really? Okay.
Well, does it impact you? Like, say someone we don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, because I know that there's a person under there. I just have no idea what the person looks like.
So you do.
I don't imagine a face under it. I just imagine a person under it.
It sounds like an awfully stupid question, but given how deep this can run, you do know there is a person under there.
Yes. No, I do not think that it's actually Chucky or
a demon or whatever.
A demon or yes.
Okay.
No, I know that it's an actual person under there.
But do you find masks more disturbing because of that?
Not okay. So not in a haunt type thing because I don't know, nor do I care who's under it.
Okay.
I don't care who the actor is or what they really look like.
Okay.
Right? But if it's somebody that I'm supposed to know outside of a haunt, yes, I do find masks intensely disturbing.
Right.
Because it frustrates that ability to visualize what's underneath.
Yeah, because I have no idea what's underneath and I don't even think I know how to imagine what might be underneath.
Yeah. Should we mention clowns?
Clowns are horrible. The absolute only redeeming value of clowns is that their makeup is like trademarked or copyrighted or whatever. Yeah. Yes. Their makeup is IP'd. Yeah. So as long as they're following that rule, which you can't trust them to follow because people steal people's stuff. I know they're clowns. You can't trust clowns, but
please, clowns, do not write us. I don't want 1,000 letters from clowns complaining about this stuff.
Yes, but as long as they're following the rule where they're not allowed to wear other people's makeup, then I think I'd be okay more with clowns. But yeah, clowns disturb me, masks disturb me because I have no idea who the person is underneath it.
One of the early seasons, we did a gag where we took people who were roughly the same size and shape, like Kevin and Crystal's dad, I think, were two,
right,
and put them in the same mask. We bought multiple copies of the same mask.
That's horrible. That is all the horrible.
And the idea was
why would you do that?
To make it look like this serial killer was everywhere.
That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. Now, how would I deal with that in a haunt? I know how I would deal with that horribly with people that I know, and I know the people that are in y'all's haunt, our haunt, whatever, the haunt that's at our house. But if I was at a random haunt, I don't know how I would deal with that.
Would you assume it's the same person? Would you?
If it looked like the same person, then yeah, I'd probably assume it was the same person and that they were magically getting places by teleportation.
Or actor runs.
Yeah, or actor runs. Same difference, whatever. It doesn't matter if I can't see it.
Okay, yeah, because the wall, you see the wall and that's the end of it. You're not thinking about what's on the other side of it.
Yeah, if I can't see it, doesn't matter how it happens. All it matters is that it does happen.
Right.
MFM, right?
Yeah, MFM. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know that it would bother me. I'm trying to think of would a flash mob of people bother me? Probably not. Yeah.
What about multiple people in the same mask in the same room?
Oh, then I would just assume that there were multiple people in the same mask because I know how masks work.
Yeah, I know that.
I don't know how masks work. I know how masks
you don't
work.
Know how images work.
Well, no, I don't know how. Why would it be more disturbing?
With more people.
Only if I'm required to know which one of them was special. Like if I was supposed to be following one of them. If one of them was the guide and one of them was not the guide, one of them was the evil guide, and they look the same. Yeah, that would probably really disturb me because if they were dressed exactly the same, I don't think I'd be able to
That's a good idea for how to actually mess with people with aphantasia.
Yes, put two of them there, make them go like this or whatever, cross each other's paths,
like a shell game or something.
Yeah, do a shell game with people in the same costume and that look the same. That would otherwise describe out the same.
Better work well with people that don't have aphantasia, but
well, yeah, because you could do it and have it be a speaking role, and you don't know who you're talking to until they actually speak at the end. So you switch them out, and then as the last thing is they say something in a different voice.
Yeah, it would probably need to be a dramatically different voice because, a lot of people with aphantasia don't have sound memory either, or sound imagination either. I do, but I played violin for 15 years, so I've got the 10,000 hours to to be able to do a pitch in my head.
Right.
But yeah, that uncanny valleyness.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. We got about 15-ish minutes left. So, moving on to the creative side, Aphantasia. Now, you're not active in building the haunt, which I'm thinking right now is a very good thing.
Well, that's just because you saw the skull I painted for you.
Because, but I mean, I know how difficult it is for Crystal and I to get on a common vision oftentimes.
Right.
And maybe that part of that is maybe possibly the hyperphantasia, and that we both get such clear images of what's going on,
Yeah.
and that we can't, shake ourselves off of it to see what the other person's talking about.
Right.
So maybe we have the opposite problem with that communication. So maybe it's something for us to think about as we start this year's build come the summer.
Yeah, because I have very clear visions of like 2 of the rooms that are going in there.
Yeah, and it can be very difficult to relay that or to have someone share it precisely.
Well, not only that, but it's very difficult and it's disappointing whenever it doesn't come out the way that I want it to. As detailed and as rich as what I see in my head.
Or even like we've had issues, and I'm sure every haunter's had these issues, where measurements were not precise for one reason or another, and so you couldn't fit everything you thought you could fit into a room.
Right.
We've had that issue. Now,
Maybe I should be measuring stuff for y'all.
Maybe.
But people with aphantasia have the opposite problem.
Right.
They can't see the end product in their head anyway.
Right.
They see is what's in front of their faces. And so if you say to them, well, how's this project going to look? No, you'll see when it's done.
Yeah, you'll see it when it's done. It'll have this many rooms, and the rooms
It'll be these themes.
Yes, we'll have these themes in it, and maybe be this color, because.
But you can't paint an image with your words from your mind.
Well,
you know what I mean?
No, of course not. Of course not. I could maybe draw one because I struggled through a year of drafting.
Yeah.
And it was a giant struggle, but yeah.
Yeah, but if somebody says, okay, we're going to put this and this over here and it's going to look like this.
No.
Not until
even
it's
put
there.
this and this over here. I can't even imagine what this and this are.
To describe
In fact, you may as well just say, I'm going to put this and this. Oh, I'm going to put this and this over here. That says
I'm
as much to me.
going to put an apple and an orange near the cabinet.
Oh, yeah, no, that's as useful to me as put this and this over here.
Yeah.
So, when, to describe a room we did last year, we're going to have a mad scientist room with stone walls, and there's going to be a laboratory table on the left-hand side as you come in, and then there's going to be a gore box. And none of that means anything, other than you physically seeing the room.
Yeah, other than I'm physically seeing the room, and I know not to go all the way forward or all the way to the left because that's the mad scientist table over there, and I know not to go too far over to the right because that's where the gore box is going to be. Mm-hmm. But I can't... I've seen the gore box. I saw the gore box 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was a box, there were limbs.
Yeah.
Box, hashtag limbs, hashtag...
Yeah, or box.limbs. Hanging.
Yeah.
Or hanging over, not hanging from the top.
Yeah.
See?
No.
See, I can describe what it is. I just...
No.
Not usefully, not good described.
You can't, It's hard to say, and this is one thing I'm trying to get at is, you're a very, very crafty person. You're a crafter, you knit, you crochet,
you make
paint,
your own patterns.
You make your own patterns, you do all these things.
I write code.
You write code, oh yes, absolutely, you're a coder, obviously. You might do that a little bit, that one's just a little bit. You don't do that as much as the
Don't tell my boss.
But yeah, it's, so...
But until I actually physically make it, I have no idea what it's going to look like. So when I'm designing something, I'll make it, and it's like, oh, no, this doesn't look how I want it to look.
So
I'll just pull it out and just redo.
Let's say you had a project where you had to work with me or Crystal or someone else that's not aphantasic and try to coordinate. How would you...
Remember that game Concept?
You remember us trying to do puzzles together?
Oh, you do puzzles totally wrong.
I'm totally right.
Yeah. I go by the pictures. You go by the outlines.
I go by the outlines and the descriptor words on the not the actual words written on the pictures, but these are eyes.
Yeah.
Not
so you put all the eyes together.
Of course.
Not.
Of course I put all the eyes together. How else would I sort all the eyes?
20 goddamn eyes all over the damn
Well, yeah.
puzzle.
Yeah. And there are.
There are. And then she goes and moves them.
Yes.
We don't puzzle anymore, and it's not the cat's fault. Okay, so maybe it's the cat's fault, but they're the excuse.
But no. So it's difficult to work with people that aren't on your level of Aphantasia, I guess.
I think so, because we get frustrated by different things when we're implementing those ideas.
And you create and implement ideas very differently.
Yeah, I do it very iteratively. I build it. It doesn't look exactly like I wanted to do, so I'm just like, oh, okay, put that to the side and let's start again.
Mm-hmm.
So, say
with no frustration.
Say we were working in the haunt with you. How would we best relay to you what the vision is?
Tell me exactly what you want it to look like. I will make it. I will make a prototype.
Okay.
Like when I made the bones.
Right.
Tell me what you want the bones to look like.
Yeah.
I made bones. They looked the way you wanted them to look. Then I made more of those that looked a whole bunch like that one looked.
Yeah.
Pretty much exactly. Which actually worked out well. Because the bone wall needed that.
Yeah. But so I can build off of prototypes once I make a thing. And I'm pretty good at remaking the same thing. And not being bored by remaking the same thing. I'm making 20, 50 of these doily things.
So in a weird way, I guess that makes, and maybe this is just you, or maybe this is all people with Aphantasia, very good at like a craft copy machine.
Yes.
Once you can see and hold something, you can make more of them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I can't necessarily make something that you're hallucinating in your brain.
Even if I'm able to describe it with impeccable detail, it's not going to come across or have the same impact.
Right. Yeah. No.
And that's assuming I can do that. That's a big assumption, as we've learned.
Yeah.
I'm just a writer. I mean...
Yeah, because I only get so much level of detail in my metadata list that I store about the thing.
Right.
It's like, make a bone. It's this long and it's this color. Okay, I can do that. But then if you want it to, I don't know, have certain dimply things, I'm not gonna see those.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that would be one way possibly to work with someone with Aphantasia. Would be rather than saying, I want a boat, I want it to look like a Viking ship and with sails and all this, say, I want a boat, it's got to be 6 feet long, have a sail.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah. I think, put some actual detail in there. Not what you think of as detail.
Right.
But like actual detail.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's actually something that we learned from Liz, who is the other person we know in our crafting circle, for her Mardi Gras corset this year. You know, she did not draw the image that she's doing, and she had to she knew what she wanted, but she had to describe it in such a way that the artist she was working with could draw it out for her. And I'm sure that process
was
painful and took a little
I feel
extra
bad
time.
for both of them.
Yeah, exactly. I feel bad for both of them too.
I love Liz, but she can be enough of a pain to start with.
Oh, good thing she doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, we're safe on that one.
Love you, Liz.
Love you, Liz, but it's true. But yeah, no, I feel very bad for anyone trying to do that because it's going to be very difficult because what's so striking to me about it, and I guess this is kind of bringing it home a little bit, is just how fundamentally different of a way of thinking it is.
Yeah, well, and I think part of why I make things is because I can't tell you how to make a thing that I want to make.
Right.
I'm not capable of describing something for you to make it, like Liz telling somebody to draw a picture for her.
Yeah.
And of course Liz is probably saying, I want a boat on the water with trees and a sky.
It's something about a turn.
Yeah.
That's important. That turn is important.
English turn is important. And whenever she described it, I had a totally different vision
so did I.
of what it would look like.
Oh, yes.
She ended up with.
What she ended up with is adequate to me. It sounds like all the words she was saying.
Yeah. And you're right, it does.
Uh-huh.
And here's the thing. The way she described it, I'm willing to bet if you and I, Crystal, had sat down and drawn what we envisioned, our visions would have been different too.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Because all she did, Elli described as provided the metadata of what the things that were included.
Yes, and
tree, boat, water, sky.
Yeah, and it checked off all of those boxes.
Yes, it did.
But I actually had considered drawing it for her, but she wanted a specific boat, but she couldn't find the picture for it. And whenever you want a specific thing, and I don't know what the specific thing looks like, then I have to find a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially if it's someone like Liz that, like I said, isn't able to get the image herself and describe it.
Right.
It's going to be really...
Oh, God, I couldn't imagine trying to give, like, a description to the police, like, to a sketch artist.
Oh, God. Yeah, that would be difficult. Yeah.
So, if anybody wants a target to rob...
Don't do that.
No, I would be
Apparently,
sad.
Elli cannot describe.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, though. I'm not dead yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's such a fascinating... And the fundamental way in which the difference in thinking works really blew my mind to learn about it. And to find out that two people very, very close to me
Right.
have aphantasia blew my mind. Mm-hmm. And I'm still... and the other thing about it I find so interesting is that it's not like, it's a pass-fail thing that we discussed. There is a spectrum.
Right.
People exist at various points. You and I, Crystal, are very hyperphantasic from the looks of things. And Elli is very, very aphantasic.
Yeah.
Very, very, very aphantasic.
Yeah.
But there is a whole spectrum there. And so when working with people on haunts and other large craft projects, it may be important to find out where they exist on that spectrum.
I think it is.
So that you know how to approach them when trying to collaborate creatively.
Right.
Yeah, and don't get upset when the person can't, I don't know, come up with a really creative, descriptive story or whatever.
Yeah, tell me what you see. Tell me what you see.
Yeah, here it's your job to write the description. Yeah, you don't want me to write your descriptions.
No.
You really don't.
And just be a bunch of hashtags.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Hashtag tree.
But, you want me to make like 50 of something? Sure, I can do that.
Right.
And they'll all be the same as far as their description goes, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't try to give people jobs that they aren't suited for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm really upset with all my English teachers going through school.
Yeah.
Write a story that you make up. Now you get an F because your story sucks. Of course my story sucks.
Well, there's an old... was it Einstein who said it? If we judge intelligence by how well you can climb a tree, then every fish is an idiot or something like that. I can't remember what the exact quote was, but you have to be mindful of how we judge intelligence and creativity too, I think.
Yeah.
Because if we judge creativity solely by how well you can create this picture in your mind and build a universe or build a world in your head, then people like Elli are immediately very uncreative. They're like the anti-creative. But I know personally that is not true in the least.
Well, yeah, and I think part of the thing is that I will make... I'm used to failure. I'm used to the thing not implementing to the way that I imagined it might implement.
Right.
So just throwing it away and starting over again.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's so. Yeah,
maybe parachuting isn't your hobby.
Yeah, probably not. But
first, you don't succeed.
But R&D could be. Mm-hmm. But not necessarily on a deadline, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I need all the time in the world because I need to fail the first 60 times.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, but yeah, I think one thing that we may want to be cognizant of, especially with the people who are on like the build and the design team of your haunt, maybe take a moment and find out where they're on the spectrum. Go to the link that we have on the BBC website. Mm-hmm. Have them take that test.
Right.
And have them find out where on the spectrum they are, because it's going to help you communicate with them and maybe even help you find the tasks they're better at. Because when collaborating creatively with someone, it is so important to speak the same mental language. Mm-hmm. And I've got to say, after knowing Elli for this long, it can be very difficult if one of us is talking in pictures and the other is talking in hashtags. And
yeah.
and bullet points.
It's frustrating.
It is. It's we might as well be speaking, two different computer languages, or something like that. It can be very, very difficult. You have to translate everything to the other person.
Right.
And that is damn near impossible with this.
And not necessary to do all the time.
Yeah.
I let y'all go on and on and on about, I don't know, all the creative stuff that doesn't really matter.
Well,
yeah.
But yeah, it's such a fascinating thing. And I do think we should try to incorporate more for people with aphantasia into haunts themselves. Mm-hmm. Because on one hand, they're more difficult to scare, more difficult to mess with because they have that lowered expectation. They're not visualizing the world outside of what they can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're not visualizing necessarily anything other than what's in front of them either.
Right.
They're not filling in blanks. So
I'm not worried about the monster behind the squishy tunnel.
Yeah. They're not filling in blanks
Squishy
that aren't
tunnel,
there, as
that's
you
another
said. And,
Yes, claustrophobia tunnel.
Yes, I'm not visualizing a monster behind there.
Yeah. See, I do.
Oh wow.
The first time going into one of those, actually there was intrepidation on my part because I didn't know if somebody was going to reach from underneath I knew that the walls were like filled with air.
Gotcha. I'm just worried that I'm going to lose my little cat ears.
Yeah.
Or they might tear the...
Yes.
Yeah. My glasses
maybe
my cat
take off
ears.
the pointy cat ears before you go into the claustrophobia tunnel.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
That probably is wise. Otherwise, I can just see you shredding them.
Oh.
And then we got some very expensive...
Yeah. That would not be a good
That'd not be good.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I think there has to be a way to do more because even though people with aphantasia are not a significant portion of the population, think about this for a second. We talked previously about people with photosensitive epilepsy.
Right.
That photosensitive epilepsy occurs roughly in 1/3%
right.
of all people. Now, that's still a high enough percentage to definitely make changes, especially given the severity of it.
Right.
Yeah, but we're like 6 times as common then.
Exactly.
I wonder how common we are in the haunt audience.
That's a very good question.
Like our crafting group is 40% aphantasic.
Yeah.
That's compared to 2% in just everybody.
Right.
So I wonder what it's like in the haunting audience.
That'd be a good thing to find out. And another thing to stress, by the way, I meant to say this before, is we're obviously talking about Elli's experiences and to a lesser degree our other friend Liz's experiences.
Right.
We're not meaning this to be a generalization for everyone with aphantasia and what they experience.
Yeah.
But, because obviously we can only speak, or Elli can only speak for herself. If you have aphantasia, send us a message. We'd love...
I want to make more friends with aphantasia.
And she's going to launch a support group, probably.
Yes.
Picture this. Got your title already. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, we want to hear your experiences, both in terms of going through haunts and how aphantasia may have changed your haunt attendance experience, and also if you work for a haunt, how it has changed collaborating creatively with others. Because I'm very fascinated by this and having, it's really weird because we've been with you for 4 years now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And for 3.5 of them, we had no idea you had aphantasia.
Well, no, I thought y'all were doing a metaphor when you're like, picture this. Or
mind's eye.
Yeah, or mind's eye, or imagine how this looks.
Or the phrase daydreaming meant something.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's... Or counting sheep.
Yes.
Y'all actually count sheep.
Yes.
You're not just like counting, I don't know, a list of sheep.
No.
Going down the cells of a spreadsheet or something.
No.
Your spreadsheet.
We see a field of sheep doing things and we're counting the actual...
But they're not there.
Yes.
Your whole life is like the show Happy. With the little blue guy.
Oh, God. I
so
think
disturbing.
the problem is when you start having conversations with individuals. I think that's when it becomes a problem. But, I definitely would love to hear the experiences of others because this, I think, honestly, I have to say, given the fact this was first discovered in 1880,
Yeah.
And it's only recently been getting any kind of attention, like in the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, there's a guy studying it in England.
Oh, good. That is being
Right.
studied now.
Yeah, over
and
in
for the
Exeter.
record, I should stress something else. We've been calling it Aphantasia this whole time. That is only the suggested name. It doesn't even have a scientific name.
Yeah.
That's, of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't.
It doesn't
Nobody
have a
cared.
scientific
No,
name.
yes.
It is the suggested name. And I'm pretty sure when they get around to actually naming this phenomenon, it'll be the one chosen simply because it's too late to turn back now. Well, Ellie, thank you very much for joining us. We
You're
greatly
welcome.
appreciate you being with us and helping shed some light and helping us really visualize the life of people in Aphantasia.
Yes, it's a life without seeing things that aren't there.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But on that note, everyone, thank you very much for joining us and putting up with our random banter for the past hour. You can definitely follow and find more of us on hauntweekly.com. We are Haunt Weekly on Twitter and Facebook. Be sure to follow us at both places. We are also at tinyurl.com/hauntweekly. That is our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us there. Get updates there. We're in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere finer podcasts are sold. We have no idea why they let us in either. But bottom line, follow us in all the places. And until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this was Haunt Weekly, episode number 113, Aphantasia Haunting. We will see you guys next time.